All right, let's talk about the lightweight tournament status because I need to cheer up a little after that. So you've kind of got three guys now who have wins over other top five guys, and those are Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, and Michael Chandler. You've also got Justin Gaethje in there, who had his win over Tony Ferguson back in April. I It's hard deciding where you put Gaethje because he did just fight Khabib and lose, but hey, so did Poirier years back. Like, I think when everyone's under the same status, like, yeah, they'd lose to Khabib. No one's under the same status, and he did beat Ferguson before Oliveira did, which getting the first win is always more impressive. By that same logic, Dustin Poirier's broke Dan Hooker before Michael Chandler did, even though very different ways. So that's kind of what Poirier was saying in the press conference. Like, why, how impressed should I be with Michael Chandler? Like, why would he get a title shot? He just beat a guy I just beat. Like, no, he needs more. So I kind of agree with him. I think Charles Oliveira is the most impressive lightweight at the moment right now, second to Dustin Poirier. So I'd be pretty happy to see Oliveira get a chance at the belt. I think Dustin Poirier is frustrated. He's not crowned champ already after that win. I am so happy the UFC held back and did not just decide because McGregor did not have any status at lightweight. So even as impressive as a win over him is, in terms of what it means within the division, I think it meaning very little is for the best, and a win over a guy who's on a winning streak in that division with wins over top 10, top 5 guys is how you should award it. So I think Charles Oliveira is that guy. I would love to see Dustin Poirier versus Oliveira for the belt, with Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje for the next title shot. However, I would also, Conor McGregor just lost to a guy with power in his hands, excellent boxing range, and vicious leg kicks. If he wants to prove to the world that he has gotten better, that he can fix those holes in his game, there would be no better opponent to prove it against than Justin Gaethje. I don't see the UFC throwing him into the fire like that. I don't know if Justin Gaethje even wants Conor now, or if he's more interested in a title, because if he is, Michael Chandler would make more sense. But that matchup is even more intriguing to me now, seeing like what Conor just lost to, because Justin Gaethje would walk in there with the exact same plan as Poirier, minus the grappling. So that to me is one of the more intriguing matchups you could make in the lightweight division. If you did so, I'd be happy to see Michael Chandler maybe fight Charles Oliveira for number one contender status, or maybe just wait his turn as an alternate, get one more win wherever the opportunity presents itself. Other names you've got, well, other names I've got in the division below those four, as I just mentioned, Conor McGregor. We just talked about Dan Hooker, Tony Ferguson also coming off 2 losses. So those, it's tough with UFC divisions because guys have to fight so hard to get to the top. But once they are at the top, it does tend to stay static. So I'd kind of be happy to see all three of those guys, rather than fight each other, defend their position against like hungrier guys on winning streaks below them. Let's see if there's some turnover in the division or those guys are on top. So I think the winner of Makachev versus Dober, which I believe is coming in March, should be huge for title implications. Whichever guy wins is going to be on a knockout streak. If it's Islam Makachev, then you have the guy who Khabib has been calling his successor for years, and the MMA world feels like they know so much about, but in reality have seen very little of. The RDA fight falling through was brutal, but I would really like to see the winner get one of those, if not a top guy, then like a guy that gets them a top guy that guarantees a number next to their name that makes one of those matchups against a top guy make sense. RDA as well, with that win over Paul Felder, put himself in top 6, top 7 position within the division. So he's got to be on the list of guys who should be looking to climb up. I know they're looking, I mean, McGregor versus RDA was a matchup that was supposed to happen years ago. The pulling out of RDA with that foot injury in the last practice on the last day before the fight being what led to the Diaz fight. So maybe you book that fight all the years later. I'm sure. I mean, RDA is such a versatile fighter. I'm sure he'd be happy to add. I mean, you've seen the kick game he has against Diaz, most notably. He obviously has a clinch game, so that you could make an argument that that's an even worse matchup for him than Gaethje is, because RDA is going to be happy to grapple Conor all day. So I'd love to see those McGregor, Hooker, Ferguson riding wins or riding losses, fight some guys below them, riding wins, get some turnover in the division where it's justified, have those top 4 guys fight it out, and whoever remains standing is the UFC lightweight champion.